So it was only the other day I changed the water pump and gasket, and now I found out there's a P gasket, which is another gasket which is behind the water pump. That's been leaking water all the way down the block. It's not very fun, shouldn't be too bad. Let's crack on with that today. I'm probably going to need more than this, but at the moment I've got a ratcheting tool set, a multi-tool set with everything I need to undo all the nuts and bolts on the Land Rover. I've got a big set of pliers to undo the hoses to let the water out. I've got a Phillips and flathead screwdriver and a set of cutters to cut any cable ties holding anything. And I've got some coolant, obviously, because we're going to let it all out. So I've already changed this water pump here and gasket, and I thought that was the P gasket. That's not the case, that's just the water pump gasket, that's all done. But behind here, where the housing for the water pump and a few various things meet the block, there's another gasket there which is, I think, completely disintegrated and allowing coolant to run down. It's a little hot, not too bad. Yeah, it's not gone down too much, it's sort of subsided a little bit, but it was leaking a lot recently, so I thought I might as well do it. It's one of those things, might as well get it done. So let's have a look at this. I think the first things first, get the coolant out, let it run down all over the floor. I actually found last time I did this, removing the hose. Up in here there's the hose for the bottom of the radiator, and that's where I'm going to drain the coolant from. That had completely seized up, to the radiator, and I needed a big set of pliers, so I went and bought those ones I've got, and that solved all my problems, and the water drained out perfectly, and then we cracked on. But that's what I found hardest last time, so you definitely need that to get going. Next, the aux belt has to come off. You have to use a spanner to take the tension off from the belt. Aha, so use the jack to relieve the tension on the belt. I'm now going to remove it. Putting the jack on a spanner to remove the tension from the tensioner works quite well. So I'm removing the pulley down here, get the bolts off, and there are the bolts there, looking pretty good, still nice and clean. Quite difficult to get off, so I might add some more grease to the back of it so it comes off next time. Now I'm going to take the belt tension bolt off. That's okay, studs come off. It's all nice and clean still. I might give this a clean up, it's probably a good idea. So now I'm going to try and take the little 13mm nut out of the tensioner. A little bit of force, but it came off nicely in the end. Nice and rusty, that one. Probably need to replace that one actually. That'd be good. I think it's looking really messy. Can't wait to replace this whole thing. Down there you can see there's 3 bolts on the bottom of the water pump. We need to undo all of these, and they are quite long ones. They are these longer bolts, and that goes all the way through into the block and holds the whole unit on. So take all of these off. Sometimes the jobs that you think are going to be simple turn into a nightmare. I've had to spend 10 minutes trying to grind a bolt off that has seized and rounded itself, and now have to assess if I need to get a new housing for the water pump and the alternator. The P gasket is now out. As you can see, it is a metal one actually. Not looking great, all a bit corroded and torn up on the insides and caked up in dirt, but good to see a metal one. I guess the good news is that we are now into the area where the P gasket needs to go, but the bad news is that there's a few more things I might need to replace now. We've grinded a bolt off, so we'll have to see what comes next. So we've passed the worst bit. We've got a new bolt for down there. This is the one we had to cut off, and went to the shop, got a new one. looking nice and clean, ready to go in. The housing is here. Had to cut a bit out, unfortunately, but we're back together. All we need to now is put everything back on and get it rough and running again. Here's the new gasket. It's much cleaner than the old one. I've got some liquid sealant to go on here to make sure it seals up, but yeah, happy with that. Just thought as I'm going along, I'm gonna try and tie up any loose ends. In this case, it's the harness for the EGR, which has been deleted, and the alternator was just looking a bit worse for wear, so I thought I'd tidy it up with some tape, make it look a little bit better. Currently got the housing back on, in place, cleaned up, with a P gasket in place, ready to all be done up. After only changing one small gasket, it's been a big job today, really. A bit of a shame because it was meant to be easy, but had to grind something off, had to grind a bolt off, had to cut a bit of the metal off, and had to go to the shop and buy new bolts. But you know, that's only a Land Rover for you. It's been fun though. Now we need to fill it up with half and half of this blue antifreeze coolant. Probably should have checked there's any leaks first before putting it all in. That's me for you. Half water. Oops. Everything's done, everything's back, everything's done up, and it's time to start the engine. Nice. Right, let's take it for a spin. All these tools off. Right, so maiden voyage. Out up the lane just to give it a bit of a heat up, make sure it all gets circulated round. Make sure it's all bled, all the bubbles come out. Apart from that, we're looking good. It's funny the effort that goes into a job that actually was pretty easy. It just took a lot of time, that's the problem. All in all, went well. Let's get that boost pin working. There we go. Nice. Sounds good to me. Put it into the old trusty field. Looks like we're to temperature now. Just time to go back and have a check, make sure everything's working well, make sure all the fluid's to the right level and nothing's spilling out.